This is the orientation for the Southwest Georgia Housing Task Force, and it is an initiative of the Regional Partners Network. The Regional Partners Network is a 501c3 nonprofit arm of the Southwest Georgia Regional Commission. It got started, gosh, several years ago through a plan, the regional plan that was written. And there were people around the table, and housing was an initiative that was near and dear to a lot of people's heart at that time and still is. And we started the Housing Task Force because we wanted to impact housing in a very real way. Didn't really know what we were doing when we got started, to be quite honest. It started from a survey we did, just trying to see what were the barriers to people getting housing. And that's really how it started. And when we realized at that time, and it still is, that credit was the biggest barrier, the people around the table at that time said, well, what can we do about it? And, we wanted to educate people on what was out there, what could be done to help them, maybe to deal with their credit issues or be homeowners. And, some of them didn't even know they could be homeowners. So that's kind of how we got started, really. And this is our mission to identify and provide affordable housing solutions through partnerships with all residents in Southwest Georgia. When we started, there were some members that were people that would be a part of our meetings, and they were thinking that we were going to build homes. Well, we don't have the capacity to do that. And most of you, and I've heard people around the table, if you're doing any kind of construction and home, no matter homes, any type of housing, it's quite an undertaking. So we didn't set out to do that. We want to educate and inform, bring resources and information to the table so that the opportunities for housing that window is a little bit more open than what it is. And people, like I said, that they realize that home ownership is possible. And maybe for those, everybody that we come in contact with, they don't want to be a homeowner. Some people just want to rent. We've had all types of educational sessions over the years, not only for homeowners, but for renters and landlords. So we try to come full circle as much as we can. And I've heard some people from VA and mental health. We've had some sessions about mental health because we realize that, people that live in a home, there's sometimes a lot of issues. They're people, they're human beings, and they have real issues, and they live and they work. And so we realize that just to build someone a home doesn't solve all of the problems. Our purpose. And hopefully, just thinking back over the years, because we started out in 2000, you all, so it's been a minute for us, and we've done all kinds of things. And I'm just looking at our purpose to identify and find solutions to housing issues in Southwest Georgia. I think that I won't say we've identified them all because they keep changing. Some of them are basic issues, but a lot of the issues sometimes they keep changing. I do think we have increased opportunities for home ownership because people, they know more. They know more about what's available. And sometimes they reach out to our membership and reach out to our organization. As Pat said earlier, we're housed here at the Regional Commission. So many times we have people that will call, and a shout out to River Valley. We have other regional commissions that we work with and that call us because sometimes maybe they're just getting started out in housing, or maybe they don't have a housing presence. Not that they're not concerned, but they'll reach out to us, and maybe we have actually worked with some of their communities with permission. We don't cross our boundaries unless we're called to do so. But our organization, the Southwest Georgia Regional Commission, we actually do a lot of housing rehab. We do a lot of housing rehabilitation through programs like the Community Home Investment Program, through the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. We also get housing rehabilitation funding through the United States Department of Agriculture. They have a small pot of money that we get every year. And during that time, we have worked with many cities and counties over the years, and we rehabbed a lot of houses for low and moderate income families that just could not afford to do so. So those are really good programs for cities, counties, and nonprofits and housing authorities. When I first started out in this work with the CHIP program, and that's what it is, Community Home Investment Program, but you'll hear me refer to it as CHIP. When I first started out, it was just cities and counties, but they've since opened up the eligible participants. So now cities and counties can participate, nonprofits can participate, and housing authorities can participate. As a matter of fact, we're working with the Sylvester Housing Authority right now, and they are actually building. You can use it for, the CHIP program can be used for housing rehab, but it can also be used to construct new housing. And Sylvester Housing Authority, they are working with our organization, the regional commissions, to construct new housing in Sylvester. They built 3 new single-family units, and they've just recently submitted another application to build 4 more units. And what they want to do is to transition their people out of public housing, those that are ready, just transfer them out of public housing into home ownership, those that have a desire to. And we got our last purpose is to support and promote housing options through communication, education, and technology. We try to do that as well. Some of you, that's how you got to this meeting, through technology. It came out through Facebook or through constant contact. Sheena does a good job getting that out there, and we're all the time, just because of technology, it brings us all closer. So it's kind of widened our horizon on what we look at it and the types of people that are a part of our task force. I think earlier, this is one of our meetings, like way back when, this at the Camilla Depot. Matter of fact, I don't know what year, but I recognize some of the people. I talked right in the beginning, I said it, the housing task force started out of a plan. We have a regional plan that we have to do and develop, and we update it every 10 years. It's on our website. We update it every year, but we have to do a full update every 10 years. And I may be paraphrasing this, but in that regional plan, it said something like, let's see, like create a group of people that can talk about housing issues or something along that lines. But that's how it started. That's how the meetings began, out of an activity that was in the plan. And here we are today. And it's still in our plan. It's still we included in our activities with the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. And we've received several awards from the state. They were, and now it seems like at one point, the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, their focus was a lot on housing, and they were offering funding that we were able to take advantage of. This has been years ago, but now it seems like the paradigm is kind of shifting a little bit, and they're focusing back on housing again. So who knows? There might be other opportunities for us to get some funding, but we've received some awards from the state for some of the work that we've done in just informing and educating the public. And we don't, like I said, we don't discriminate. What I did, get my clicker. You go back, I don't want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. And as I told you earlier, we started out in 2000. So we've been doing this for a minute, and we've been doing housing conferences 2 annually since that time. Our focus, you can see the counties that we cover. That's our little footprint. However, we do go outside of that when we are asked to by other regional commissions. We do. And what we focus on, what we try to do, is try to have representation from all of these counties. Every year we reach out to cities and counties, and we ask them to appoint representatives for their communities to serve on the housing task force. Sometimes we get those, sometimes we don't. We just keep going. We make a concerted effort to get that representation. But if we don't get it, we don't let that stop our efforts. Because we want to hear, and the reason we do this is because we know that we don't know all of the issues, and we need to hear from people that are living in these communities to tell us. And that way we can, if we know the issues, we can focus on training, our education, our information, our programs around the needs of the region. And most of our programs, that is the region that we cover. We don't go outside of that. Even with our planning, economic development, most of what we do, we have that same footprint. This is what we'd like for you to do, to support us, support the mission and be able to communicate it to anyone that you may come in contact with on the elevator or whatever, just kind of like a couple of minute speech. Another one is what you're doing today, attend new member orientation to kind of know how we got started. And it's not a lot, but we like you to kind of get the history, because sometimes when you come to the meetings, there's not a lot of time to do that because we're handling other business. We want you to attend the meetings as they are scheduled. Also, kind of get out in your community, meet your local officials, tell them that you're on the housing task force, and be willing, when you hear information during our meetings or programs, you take that back to your local community and share that with them. And that in itself, to me, serves as a form of recruitment, because when people hear it, they're like, oh, I want to be a part of that. We always ask you to get involved. We might want you to be on a committee or chair a committee or hold an office. Sometimes we have people that come in and they want to hit the ground running. They want to start working. So that's good. We don't force you into a committee or an office, but we definitely want you to serve and help out on events that we have. We have our housing conference that's coming up in May, and we're going, many hands make light work. So we'll definitely need a lot of hands when that time comes. Be familiar with our organization and our bylaws. We'll share those with you. And just be an advocate. I'm sure right now you're probably already an advocate. I believe you are, because you're here this morning, and there had to be something that pulled you here, that you were drawn to this meeting, because you already have an interest on some level in housing, no matter what organization that you're with. Some of our challenges. Sometimes it's just membership, people, attending and committing, people coming in and out, that just a commitment. Sometimes just people don't understand that there's not a lot of education sometimes that's going on, and sometimes you're educating different people. So sometimes local governments, they don't necessarily understand it all. And don't get me wrong, it's not easy to understand. There are a lot of programs. There are a lot of layers to these things. And there's so many organizations. Just here this morning, I talked about United States Department of Agriculture, USDA. I talked about Georgia Department of Community Affairs. All of those agencies have programs, and there are more. They have their own programs, and those programs are, everything comes with an acronym. So that's another layer of confusion. But we, like I say, we still try to work on that. And our monthly meetings and our annual conference help with that for the people that attend. We're always striving to get regional representation and to kind of see the value of the housing task force. Sometimes if you're not building homes, people don't necessarily stand up and cheer for more education, because they're like, well, that's all we get in this education. We want some action. So sometimes it's not seen as valuable just because you're giving education. Okay, our meetings. But normally our meetings are held the second Tuesday of every month at 10. And sometimes they're virtual, sometimes they're in person. As far as our executive committee, we meet as we need to. When we have issues that need to be taken care of, we meet on an as needed basis. This is just, and this really needs updating, but it basically has our structure. I told you earlier about The Regional Partners Network is a 501c3, and the Housing Task Force came out of that. Those are offices, our basic board. We got a director, assistant director, secretary, and assistant secretary. These are some committees that we don't have any of these that are really active, but they are kind of ad hoc. The financial, they're always looking for any kind of resources that the Housing Task Force can take advantage of. Education, looking for areas that maybe, we hadn't looked at, because a few years ago, we kind of, as I said, we broadened our focus as far as housing, and we kind of put it like this: people can't get good housing unless they have what? A good job, and they're healthy enough to work. So we kind of folded those components into it, because, like I said, we know if we build a house, that's not it. It takes more than that. So we as far as education, we kind of rolled other pieces into it. The housing committee just deals with housing programs, any programs that our communities can avail themselves to. Marketing and public relations, we're always trying to get our name out there so people know who we are, as well as build community partnerships, because we know that we don't know everything, and we know everybody knows a little something, and together we all know a whole lot. The resource center is something that's a dream. That is truly a dream, because we wanted to actually have a place where people could go, and now you don't actually have I hate to say it, you don't have to have a building. You can have a place, in a virtual resource center where people can go, not only cities and counties and nonprofits, but just regular people, residents that are living in these communities, and they want information, and they can go there and they can get this information. But that was our a dream. That was our little vision that we had. But like I said, at the time, we were looking at it as a physical building. But as I'm looking at it and thinking about where we are today with technology, it doesn't have to be that way. But that's our organization chart. And I kind of went through these committees. This conference is for everyone. I think that no matter what you do or what type of housing you're involved in, I think that there'll be something at the conference that you will learn, and that you have some takeaways. I believe, and I don't think Pat and I don't think Sheena would disagree with me on that. We try to think about, we've been doing this for a while, and we try to think about what the region needs and what we hear from people and what we see, trends. And so we try to have a little bit of something for everyone. And look at those two beautiful faces. You met Pat, our director, our fearless leader, and Pat and I have known each other for many, many years. Sheena, she's our person, our secretary. She's also the planning assistant here at the Regional Commission. She gets stuff done and gets it out and keeps our name out there and rolls our invitations and all of these things that you see. Trust me, Pat and I don't get into that information now. Sheena does all of that. As you can see, I have a vacancy for the assistant director. We just lost our executive director, Dr. Sonia Johnson. She's left the area, but she truly is missed. I think she left in December, but that position has just become vacant. And we always need an assistant secretary, because people, sometimes things happen and everybody's not here all the time. So we need an assistant to be able to take 5 minutes. That is all I have. I'm just, I've been the director. I don't know if I introduced myself, but I am my job here at the Regional Commission. I'm the deputy director and the planning director, and I've been here for 23 years, and I've worked in a lot of different areas, but I do work a lot in housing, but we do planning for the region in all of the counties that were mentioned earlier. And housing is near and dear to my heart. And when I got here and when I started at the Regional Commission, I was assigned this project to get this group together, and the rest is history, and I'm still working in it. but I really do enjoy it. I do think that everyone has the right to safe, decent, affordable housing. It's something that I believe in, so I'm not, it's something that I can commit myself to and be passionate about because I do believe it. And I know that people are not living in the situations that they're in because they want to. Sometimes they feel like they don't have choices, they don't have options. But I feel like it's incumbent upon us that do have the resources and the information and knowledge to share that with them so that they can have a better quality of life. Sometimes people just don't know that it's possible, that it can be. And I think it is for everyone if you want it. Like I said, everyone does home ownership is not for everyone because some people they don't want the maintenance. They just want to come in and be renters. But even with that, we have people calling us on from time to time about things that landlords have done and I'm getting evicted or I'm homeless. It's amazing to me that they find us, the regional commission, who knows about it? No one really knows about us, but I have people call us directly and they'll say, I'm homeless, I'm sleeping in my car. And we try to connect them with the people that we know about in the region. That's why we want regional representation. So if I encounter someone that's in your county and I know that you can help them, I'm going to connect them with you. I'm all the time sending people that are interested in home ownership and they have to go through that process. And I'll call Pat or I'll call BJ out of Albany. She's another one of our partners. And I'll say, hey, look, got somebody, they said they're ready to purchase a home, but they got to work on their credit. And Pat, they'll walk through that process with them. And I've had them call me back and say, Miss Barber, I'm going to invite you to dinner because I got my house. I say, really? So like I say, the information is there and the resources are there. But I always tell people that's kind of what we are. We do not build homes. So if you're thinking that we're going to do that, I'm sorry to disappoint you because we can't. But that ends the orientation.